Hi, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be doing reading romance for a week. Romance would probably be the genre that I tend to read the most of, although I do read a few others like fantasy, thrillers. Gonna try and start reading some sci-fi. I do read some lit fic. And yeah, so over the course of the next week, I've read about like 3 books. So this is from me in the future at the end of this video. And yeah, so let's just get straight into it.
Let your edge out to some iceberg. You'll be heavy in my mind. Can you get the heck out? I need rest now. Got me bummed out. You baby, baby, baby. I've been on my empty mind. Shit, I should've came from losing the best of me. I worry that I wasted the best of me. Oh, you, baby, you don't care.
Okay, so hey guys, I'm currently 80 pages into In the Likely Event, and so basically this story is about Izzy and Nate. They're about like 18 and 19 at the beginning of this. She's just going on a plane to visit her sister, and he's on a plane because he's about to join some army academy, and they end up getting seated next to each other. They start talking. She mentions that she's afraid of planes and that the first like 3 minutes are the ones that you have to be like not careful, but like the first 3 minutes are the most deadly essentially. But anyways, so he's kind of being like, you know, it'll be fine. First 3 minutes, the first minute they go up and then they're like, oh shit, both of their engines have exploded. So their plane goes down, and that's not a spoiler because that is the entire point of this book. It is on the back. But this basically follows their connection from that. He pretends that he's her husband to sign for her surgery and like helps her with her medical stuff right after, but he has to leave to go to the army basically immediately. And so she wakes up from surgery and he's gone. This follows that time frame, and then I think like 10 years or so in the future when she is working as a politician and he's stationed in Afghanistan. But this is basically picks up right in 2021, which is right as the US Army evacuated Afghanistan. So there's a ton of stuff going on in the country and it's super unstable. So basically he is part of her security detail, and yeah, so I'm only, like I said, 80 pages in, haven't gotten too far, but so far really liking it. This is the same author of Fourth Wing, and her writing is just as good. It's really easy to get into the story, and yeah, trauma bonding. It's always fun to read about. Okay, hey guys, so it is the next day, Thursday, and I am about halfway through this book. It's kind of slowed down a little bit. So like I said, it picks up in the current timeline. They're in Afghanistan, and it picks up during kind of like the collapse of the Taliban taking over, which is not the most fun thing to read about, I will say. And I did get a little bit lost in there while it's talking about some of the like different locations. Yeah, so right now I feel like I really like the chemistry between the two characters, but I think there might just be a little bit too many different plots going on maybe at the same time. I'm not really quite sure what it is. Like the writing is super easy to get into, and I'm not like super bored, but I'm not also super interested either. Okay, so I'm a little bit further, like 200 pages in, and I don't know, I feel like my interest has slowly just decreased the more I read. It feels like the main conflict just keeps kind of going back and forth, honestly, and I don't know, I feel like the whole entire story just keeps going back and forth, and like there was an original issue and then that got resolved really quickly, and now there's just kind of starting another one. I don't know, like I said, my interest is just continually decreasing, which is unfortunate because it started off really good. I mean, I really like the characters together, like they have really good chemistry, but I feel like we're spending a little bit too much time on the subplot of the mission in Afghanistan rather than the romance, so I'm starting to get a little bit bored with the romance in general also. But yeah, so hopefully it continues to get a little bit more interesting. But yeah, so I will just keep you guys updated. Okay guys, so it is later in the day on Friday, and sorry if it's a little bit loud because obviously I am outside right now, but I actually did decide to DNF in the Likely Event. It just somewhere in the middle, the plot just started going in a circle round and round, and I was just getting really tired of it. And it's really unfortunate because it started off really strongly. I thought I was actually gonna love it just based off how like the first couple chapters went, but I don't know, like I said, it just started getting really repetitive. It is a second chance romance, so you're going back and forth between two different time periods, and like I said, just really repetitive. Okay, hey guys, so I decided to DNF in the likely event, like I said, and instead I picked up Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams, which is the second, I don't know if there's ever going to be a third, or so if it's just a sequel or whatever, to When in Rome by Sarah Adams. This book follows Annie, who is the sister of the main guy character from When in Rome, and the guy main character in this is Will, who is Amelia's bodyguard from the first book. So obviously the last book wasn't doing it for me, so I'm hoping this one we have a little bit of a better experience with. I really did like When in Rome. It's a really super cheesy, easy to get through rom-com, so I believe this book will hopefully be the same. I've heard a lot of really good things about it, so I'm hoping, again, like I said, it will be better than In the Likely Event. Yeah, so I will come back with more updates when I have read a little bit more into this book. Okay, hey guys, so I don't know if you guys can hear me right now. It's raining actually outside where I am, and I just wanted to come back with a few updates for Practice Makes Perfect. I'm about halfway through, which this kind of just proved to me that I really wasn't liking that last book, the In the Likely Event, because I found it a lot easier to get into this one, and I've been liking this one a lot more. And then so I did have a few things that I wanted to say about it. It is dual POV, but it takes place after When in Rome, like I said. And one thing that I will say is I really like seeing Amelia's from the first book friendship with all of the like sisters, which includes Annie, the main character in this book. So basically, like, the main premise of this is Annie, the main girl character, really wants stability. The whole point is that she really wants to get married, but she feels really awkward going on dates. So Amelia has her bodyguard Will kind of step up and take her on these like pretend dates, so she gets used to the idea of dating. And so basically, since he's been her bodyguard, he's, you know, followed her around the world. You could potentially even call him like an adrenaline junkie. He basically just needs to constantly be doing things that are exciting and fun and have like a lot of change in his life. But it is because he did have, of course, a traumatic past, which you find out with his brother in the beginning. He just has issues with, I guess, his parents' relationship, and so that kind of prevents him from wanting to be in relationships, even though he feels like this attraction towards Annie. Well, they had like this really initial mutual attraction. And yeah, so I will say Will is Amelia's bodyguard, and I really like the dynamic between them. It's like a really brother-sisterly relationship, and it's kind of fun to see her play matchmaker for Will and Annie. And then also what I really do like about this book so far is that he's kind of helping her open up and be more of herself and more of who she wants to be but is kind of scared to be, and she's kind of doing the same for him, and they're kind of just mutually helping each other even though they're both super different. And I feel like that's what the last book was kind of missing. They were so different, yet they weren't really willing to compromise for each other. Yet this book, they're helping each other become the best version of themselves, which I personally way more prefer. But yeah, so far really liking it. Hopefully I'll finish it either today or tomorrow, and yeah, so I'll come back with any more updates. Okay, hey guys, so right now I'm actually back in California. Sorry if this was a little bit confusing or just kind of like an all over the place video. I went to New Mexico to visit my boyfriend and his family, but now I'm back in California. So yeah, DNF'd one book, but that's just how it goes. I'm like 250 pages into Practice Makes Perfect, and I'm really liking this so much more than In the Likely Event. It's the perfect little rom-com. It's super sweet. I love the characters and their chemistry. I love how they communicate with each other also. So I had heard a ton of good things before I went into this book, but I hadn't heard anybody actually talk about how, you know, because they're fake dating, which is like kind of the entire point of this book, I liked how they kind of actually just had this conversation, and she just went like, do you have feelings for me, instead of them dragging it out. Because although like that can be fun to watch, like I also felt like this was a really refreshing take on that. And yeah, I don't know, I just really like how even though this book is super short, you can really easily tell how these characters are going to be good for each other and how they would probably be really really good for each other in the long run. Like, because they are very different. Like I said, he wants a very fast-paced lifestyle. That's what he used to. He used to be in the military to kind of like run away from his at-home family trauma. So he's not used to like letting people get close to him, and that's kind of all that she wants in her life, and she wants to get married. So yeah, it's kind of cool to see how they've kind of grown on each other and kind of realized maybe each other's ways can be not necessarily better, but if you kind of add them together, you need the balance is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, so again, really liking this, and I will come back when I'm done with it. Okay, hey guys, so I finished Practice Makes Perfect a few days ago, and I ended up really liking it. I'm giving it a 4.25 stars because I really like the dynamics between Will and Annie, and then I also like how they kind of just became good influences on each other. I really liked the honesty and communication that was in this book, and I also really liked how they kind of just gave each other more confidence to be themselves and gave each other stability kind of in different ways, but like in the way that each other needed. But yeah, so Practice Makes Perfect. It's a really cute book. I definitely recommend. Obviously though, you have to read, or you don't have to, but I would really recommend to read When in Rome first because that one's also really cute. But yeah, so I definitely want to read more of Sarah Adams' writings. I know I have the cheat sheet, and I think she's coming out with a sequel to that one soon. So yeah, definitely recommend. I liked this one a lot better than In the Likely Event. And yeah, okay. And then, so it is technically like the end of the week, but I also wanted to say I actually have been this kind of just was a really random decision, and that's why I didn't film it. I wasn't gonna add it, but figure I might as well since I actually am almost done. So I've been reading or rereading Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings, which if you haven't heard about this series, it's kind of described as like a British Gossip Girl. Basically, it's based on people who kind of are stuck in like really bad habits and patterns and hurt each other, and like they're stuck in this really bad cycle. But it is definitely my favorite series of all time, like without a doubt. And oh my gosh, rereading it is almost better than reading it the first time because there's so many little pieces of foreshadowing and crumbs that you don't realize, of course, because you don't know the endings and the plot twists, but like, wow, Jessa Hastings, like I'm actually obsessed with her. It's ridiculous. But yeah, also I have been kind of going back and forth between reading the physical and then also listening to the audiobook because whoever they casted for Magnolia, oh my gosh, her voice is so perfect. So if you are interested in audiobooks and also kind of want to read this series, like I definitely would recommend that. The guy character's voice isn't the absolute best, but hers is super perfect. And then so that's gonna wrap up this video of reading romance for a week. It was definitely a little bit of an abnormal week since I obviously went out of town, but I do actually have some exciting stuff coming up in September and then like the next few months though, so that'll all be like in future vlogs. Not gonna spoil things yet, but thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.